right, guys, I hope this is working. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna need just a second. What's up, everybody? I'm not behind any technicals. There's some stuff that the camera doesn't work, so you can hear me well. Actually, I'm gonna check this out over here. Meanwhile, hold up. I think you do. The sound is good. All right, guys, welcome and sorry for being late. It's not my fault, because I was supposed to use my DSLR camera for finally, at least, well, yeah, and it didn't work. So I'm back on another stream, so I won't be able to share and highlight and all the good stuff. So I'm sorry for that, but what can you do? Technological stuff sometimes is hard when you do everything by yourself. Welcome, everybody, and this is Igor in Russia, and I'm a foreigner who travels to Russia and absolutely loves Russian, guys. And I'm showing you one of the rare people who show you the reality from within Russia and not actually living in Russia. So welcome, everybody. Let's see who is here. We're going to be talking about some topics relating to, hold up, let's raise this up a little bit like this. And can I get further? Not too much. All right. I'm not able to do even a wide angle or anything. So this is what it is. All right, guys. Welcome, Edelwolf. I'm going to be reading some comments right here. I'm going to be checking out the Russian media's portrayal of the inauguration day before the inauguration. And you guys are welcome to join. And also I'm going to be telling you what Russians actually think about Trump being elected in general. I made that video about earlier as well, so I hope you guys have seen that as well. And very excited. Who's excited? Join us now. Hello, Gerdeo, Edelwolf, Akrazam. Is Lingua Pish here? I don't know. Peter was here as well. You guys were talking a lot before we went live stream. So yeah, remember to push likes for the video. And also, by the way, this is not only a monologue. You can ask me questions. I'm here and I'm ready to go. And you can ask questions about traveling to Russia, living in Russia, and all Russia related topics. All right, let me just make do you call that a foreground? And hold up, I think I'm gonna turn this. Let's do some more lights right here, some yellow. Ooh, that's a lot. Is this much? This is too much, right? No, I don't have paid StreamYard, and this is not StreamYard, because my StreamYard didn't work because of my camera. I'm not using the shitty camera, PC camera, web camera for live streaming. That's some bullshit. So this is just my phone actually. So, all right, my friends, join the chat, everybody. Let's have some fun tonight. Today is the inauguration day. Edelwolf is an American, right? And so how is America preparing for this? I would be very interested to hear what people actually think about this in America. MAGA for real. Yes, I'm sure. But you know, what kind of are people? Is there like are people feeling celebratory? You know what's going on. There's also we're going to be covering the Russian media about those demonstrations. I wonder what's how did people how what do people think about those you know protesters? Hello also Mölli. Igor, как дела? Edelwolf, be careful. You voted 3 times. Oh my God, there's been a lot of things about voting. What do you call those? Transparencies. Meaning voting 3 times. Anyways, guys, I'm not able to show you, but I'm gonna do another video right this night. And this night I'm gonna do a video about this as well. So I'm gonna show you some pictures from the news. But let's start off from first of all, you know, it's being portrayed in the media that Russia and Russians are very pro-Trump, and that's because Trump has been speaking about Russia, Putin. Some might say favorably, right? And because of that, people think that, of course, Russians are super excited about this. And well, first of all, I think if we're talking about the situation with Ukraine, everybody wants peace. I think everybody in the world, everybody. So, but it doesn't. But not without any conditions. And oh, on the left side. I don't know. It shouldn't be. Let me know if. Oh, what about if I do this? Is the sound better? Let me know in the comments if the sound is now on the both sides. Then I won't be using the earphones. Perfect. Okay, if the sound is okay, I don't need the earphones. So first of all, what Russians think, and I'm gonna bring up my common understanding of what's going on in Russia in a way that's feedback. Yeah. So first of all, Russians in general, like I said, they want you know things to get better with America, especially with America, and nobody wants you know sanctions, and nobody wants this rivalry and or even the you know well, let's put it like this: the things that are going on right there between the West and Russia, or East and West. And but it doesn't mean that everybody's like willing to have that peace, or however you want to phrase it, in any means necessary. But in general, everybody would say, everybody I've spoken about, it comes pretty naturally from Russians that said they want, you know, they want things to be nice, but even though, and most of people, I would say, are pro-Trump, between those two choices, for sure, easily pro-Trump. Well, I think it's pretty easy to be pro-Trump. And when you're thinking about, first of all, with Biden, and then you're talking about Kamala. By the way, in Finnish, Kamala means horrible, and I think it's very fitting. And so it was, pro-Trump. But are they actually thinking that Trump is going to change anything? That's a whole different question, like for real. A lot of people think he could do, because there's a different narrative with him. He speaks about this Russia relations in a whole different way. But they also, some might remember actually that during Trump's first presidency, that things got actually worse than even with Obama. More sanctions, and you know, he was actually, even though he was supposed to break the NATO alliance, he actually not made them stronger, but actually made them input more money into their finances, financing their war machine. So that's the one thing. So some observational people might remember that little detail. But in general, Trump is a type of person that Russians can easily may like him more, because in Russia, strong leaders are usually appreciated. And that's just goes back to the cultural things, business culture, leadership culture. So it's very like, how could I say, traditional in that way, old school in a way. And so that's why Trump, as a person, even though many even might not appreciate the things he says, but they appreciate the way he says it. And another thing is that they can actually relate to him being a strong person and lead as a leader, on the contrary to, let's say, very different styles of Biden. I don't know if he was there at all, actually, leading anything. Or maybe his assistants did all the job. I wonder who had the power. But anyway, not spreading any conspiracies right here. And so, yeah. And hello, Sergey. And another thing that's, for example, when I was interviewing Miss Butina, Maria Butina, a legislator of State Duma, and before that I was at an event where she had a book signage event, and somebody asked her about this, like, why are you expecting something changing? And this happened actually, this was early December. This is like in the beginning of December, so a month ago. And State Duma legislator, she said, very interesting, just what I said earlier also, that remember that there's a potential for change, for better change between the two countries. That's what is like hoped for. And but she said also that remember that during his actions there was far more sanctions, you know, even more Russia-US relations tightening, not in a good way, I mean like tensions tightening. And that's all happened during his presidency, followed by Biden's actions in the support of you know who. So that's what's interesting. And she said, but one thing that she says, and we're going to go to some of the media right here, what type of news are they saying in Russia? She said that we have to see what actually happens. So actions speak louder than words, in a way. And that's the thing that Russian president said. Well, he said, president's spokesperson Peskov said this thing. Same thing with foreign minister Lavrov and his spokeswoman Zakharova. They all said the same thing, that they're not actually commenting or like being celebratory and jumping all around. They're just like, hey, it is what it is. Let's see what actually happens, because it's easy to say talk is cheap. This is how I'm saying. They didn't say so, but I'm saying talk is cheap. Yes. And also it depends also who's putting pressure on Trump once he gets into office. Less than 1 day, in a few hours actually. It's safe to say. So it actually depends. The same thing that I've talked about this topic. People like Trump, but they're not super, overly joyful about this. And yes, Edelwolf said about, yes, when I talked to State Duma State Duma deputy, yes, she said that I need to go to Nizhny Novgorod, and I promised her, and I'm going, guys. I'm like seriously going. I'm super excited. It depends. I have to see when and how. All right, guys. And before we continue into the Russian news, I'm gonna do this super chat thing here. Sorry, I have to. And did it go live? Did it go live? Can I freaking thing? Oh my God! Can something work out? This freaking stream. It's interesting how Trump decided to shift the inauguration location from one to another. I'm trying to set the super chat thing over here. It doesn't do it. Oh, now it did. All right, guys. Before this, I posted it in my community post that I had to get a new computer, and if you want to support, you can use the super chat or other means to support. I'm not gonna, let's see if people are gonna join in. Let me talk about it. But anyways, shortly I'm gonna be checking out. Let's start off with TASS, the news agency TASS, and that's a pretty good one. I think it's 120 years. They had last year 120 years of celebration. I actually met somebody from TASS at this journalist event that I made a video about. And and the headline is, this is translated version of mine. It says Trump inauguration. There's different news related to Trump's inauguration day. And it says that's the main news, not main news, but one of the main news is awaiting the promise for 100 days what Donald Trump achieved as president. And I'm going to do some proper reading. Here it is. And that's the old news. They actually gathered old news about related to Trump's inauguration. And they're talking about, they're quoting Fox News and saying that hackers hacked Washington CCTV network ahead of Trump inauguration, and also saying that suspects in CCTV hacking ahead of Trump inauguration arrested in London. But that's an old news, so why it's here? Hold up. There you go. I'm looking at the headlines over here. And actually, the TASS International English News says nothing about Trump's inauguration. There's news about war. There's news about the special operation. But nothing about it. And also about, Krещенское купание, which is Epiphany bathing in Sevastopol. So then we head to the RBK News. RBK News says there will be no Russian representatives at Trump's inauguration. And the news says that representatives of Russia will not be present at the inauguration ceremony of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, which will take place on Monday. Said by Russian presidential aide Yuri Ushakov. No one will represent Russia at the inauguration, TASS reports him saying. Earlier it became known that 3 billionaires This is live stream, guys. Yes, this is live. Welcome. Welcome, Spooner Tuner got hacked. Earlier it became known that 3 billionaires, some of the richest people in the world, would attend the inauguration ceremony. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, Trump. This is by this. Yes, they're just reading the same news that you got in the West is also in Russia. There's no big headlines that he becomes president, and they're not celebrating. It's just basic news, business as usual. Trump, as reported by CBS, yes, they quoted the American news, invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to the inauguration. However, instead of Chinese leader, high-ranking official will attend the event in the U.S. And so Xi Jinping said, nah. Well, he probably didn't say this. It's a huge deal. Trump, as reported by CBS, invited traditional leaders of the other countries are not invited by inauguration ceremony of the U.S. president. Usually, ambassadors attend. And in mid-December 24, Trump said he had not invited Zelensky, but Zelensky could attend the inauguration if he wanted. Ah, the shirt. No, this is old militia, Russian police, not police, but Russian militia shirt from back in the day. So this is not an MCS, that's just a t-shirt. Yeah, that's why. It's just like a Russian thing for you guys. All right, moving on to the next RBK. Most of those invited to Trump's inauguration will skip it. Soviet border police. Yeah, I can put my hat on actually as well. But due to the transfer of inauguration of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump to a closed rotunda of the Capitol, most guests with invitations will not be able to attend the ceremony. That's the big news, guys. Due to most guests with tickets will not be able to attend the ceremony in person. Those with tickets to the presidential podium and members of Congress will be able to attend in person, the committee said in a statement. The ceremony and parade will be broadcast live from Capital One Arena in Washington. Trump announced that the inauguration ceremony would be held indoors. So, guys, is it like truth that's that it's so cold actually in America right now, in Washington, that they actually need to go indoors? Or is it like last minute safety thing without revealing that it's a safety thing? What you guys think? I think the latter one. Because, with all the funding that they have for this mega event, super visible, it's going to be televised everywhere, I think they would have some kind of a solution to keep Trump warm. But then there's, of course, the walk, after the inauguration, or is it before? I think after. So it's very interesting. 13 Celsius, that's nothing, that's warm. That's warm, guys. Minus 13. Ooh, all right. But nevertheless, it's kind of odd, I think. Is it record-breaking cold? Maybe, might be. Anyways, this is the news in the Russian news agency RBK. And then we're gonna head to we're gonna head out to the Komsomolskaya Pravda. Komsomolskaya Pravda, which is a newspaper that I sometimes read when I'm going from Moscow because it's free there. The only time I have time to in Russia, because there's so much to see. The only time I have time to glance over some news papers, like physically. So it says that Trump inauguration delay results in lost invitations. Some journalists also lost the invitation to Trump inauguration. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Based on this news, they're not making fun, by the way, at all. It's just like they're just writing the news. That's it. There's nothing special in Russian media concerning Trump's inauguration. If we go to the headline of Komsomolskaya Pravda, the main news is about Epiphany. Epiphany, abnormal temperatures, students from Congo, and huge queues. How Epiphany bathing took place in Russia. That's like bigger news. Then on policies, there's mentioning of Trump. America needs to rebuild working relations with Russia. Will Trump be able to fulfill his promise? And that is interesting. Former U.S. Security Council Russia director calls on new administration to make wise compromises and concessions in relations with Moscow. As an experienced showman, Donald Trump skillfully maintains the intrigue until the very end. Intrigue until the very end. No one can say for sure 2 days before his inauguration what steps the new U.S. president will take on the most important issues on the world politics, apart from general promises to settle everything and stop ongoing military conflicts. He has so far avoided specifics and maintained strategic ambiguity. A week ago, Trump said that he understood Russia's position on attempts to draw Ukraine into NATO. And a couple of days ago, his appointees to key positions in the administration said that Washington's main argument in a conversation with Russia would most likely be sanctions. Hello, Sergey. Welcome, everybody. Join the chat. Push like. In this regard, it is interesting to see who has been invited to Trump's inauguration. Among the guests will not be Prime Minister of the United States' closest ally, Great Britain, Keir Starmer, or the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. I don't know. The most ardent supporters of sanctions against Russia and die-hard supporters of helping Ukraine until the bitter end. But they have invited Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, longtime EU dissident who maintains personal ties with the Russian president and is a principled opponent of anti-Russian sanctions. Hello, Tommy and Kelly Herman. Nice to see you guys. Yeah, news continues. Orban will not be able to come to Washington because the Hungarian EU presidency is handed over on the same day. But yesterday, speaking on the state radio, he said it is time to throw sanctions out the window and establish sanctions-free relations with Russians. The EU's latest extension of anti-Russian sanctions is due at the end of January, and everyone is wondering whether Orban will keep his promise to veto them. The well-known American expert Thomas Graham, former senior director for Russia of the National Security Council under President Bush Jr., in an article published in National Interest, suggests moving away from the uncertainty in the future relations between the US and Russia and gives his own version of the restoration. That's interesting stuff, guys, like seriously. This is the most interesting news about, because other ones were like, for example, there's no mega news on TASS, for example. Relations between the United States and Russia, Graham believes, have reached a low point not seen since the darkest days of the Cold War. To reduce the risk of direct military confrontation and stabilize global security, we need to find a balance between hard deterrence and strategic diplomacy. The current bitter rivalry must be transformed into competitive coexistence. The echoes of peaceful coexistence during the Cold War are obvious. The goal is to prevent a global nuclear conflict. Graham is quite realistic in saying that there is no talk of any kind of reset in relations between our countries. They will remain rivals, but the new US administration, he believes, will have to restore working relations with Russia. Trump, who promised to resolve the conflict in Ukraine, will soon find that this task is embedded in a broader context of European security. A narrowly focused strategy for ending the Russia-Ukraine conflict will be far from the goal. To succeed, Trump will need a more comprehensive approach to Russia. Oh, that's a big... Let's read it through. This is really interesting stuff, right? Then, the former top U.S. Security Council Russia official is giving the incoming administration pointers on how to deal with Moscow. Hold up, let's put it here. Tough containment, and that's what increased sanctions are, will not succeed, he warns. Diplomatic and trade isolation of Russia is impossible when much of the global south, China, India, Brazil, and South Africa, is unwilling to abide by Western restrictions. Secondary sanctions only fuel anti-American sentiment in other parts of the world. The U.S. goal should not defeat or contain Russia. On the world stage, Graham tells Trump's advisors, although Washington must continue to vigorously confront Russian policies that threatens its interests. But the key is to recognize that Russia will remain a key pillar of the international order for decades to come. The relationship between the two countries must therefore be balanced through wise compromises and concessions. This is specifically important for strategic stability. The nuclear arms control architecture, once recreated on the basis of bilateral treaties, Graham reminds us, will cease to exist with the expiration of the New START in February 2026. Time is running out, but with mutual understanding of the exceptional importance of the problem and desire to solve it, both countries could discuss further resolution in the nuclear equation. So that's very interesting stuff, guys, like seriously. I wonder what happens, but this was tough. But this is only one way of thinking, and this is what the Komsomolska Pravda made a news about. All right. Then there's also one thing about on RBK, rbc.ru. They're speaking about, their news is about thousands of people rally against Trump in Washington. So nothing like, nothing crazy right there. My eyes out because I have contact lenses. I actually feel, dry. My eyes are drying out. So yeah, there's it's remained to be seen what's gonna happen. But media covers very neutrally, a little bit expecting. Emotions are expecting, but otherwise we don't know. Guys, I feel like I really wanna, because the YouTube does not allow the channel to receive much more visibility, so I'm gonna do the thing that I did first. I'm gonna do the let's try out the same topic, guys, with a horizontal. I'm gonna change the topic. Let's do another stream right away, right? I think that's it for now. I'm gonna return back. We can talk more about like yeah, 20 watching. That's maximum. That's fine. I'm happy for you, for each and every one being here with me. But of course we want more. Let's try another way around, because I don't have a lot of time to go live, and when I do, it would be nice to have much more interactions. Tommy and Kelly says, I'm just waiting to see what happens. I live in Navasota. I kind of think Trump is in the whole is on the whole thing. I am just gonna wait and see. Good point. All right, guys, I'm gonna come back right away, and I'm gonna expand the video topic outside just Trump and media, not just the media, so we can have more talks about what's to come. And we're also going to talk about the future travel plans of yours truly, Igor, in Russia. So let's get back in a second. I'm gonna turn my camera around. All right, bye-bye.